Have you wondered why Bitcoin is going through the roof and continues to hit new all time highs? It seems like every week. Well, tonight we're going to go through the top four reasons why Bitcoin has gone over 90,000 and might even hit 100,000 in the near future. So, first off, supply and demand. 21 million Bitcoin will always ever exist and no more can be created. The system was set up to be fair and to where no other party, such as a government, could issue more tokens. So, therefore, it is scarce and will continuously be more scarce as time goes on. Then you have the rewards halving cycle. This also makes it even more scarce. Bitcoin is powered by something called miners. These miners generate rewards, which are sent to the people and the miners who are working to build the Bitcoin that are set to be mined. Now, like I said, 21 million will exist, but out of the 21 million, there are 3 million that still need to be mined. And those computers are given 3.14 in block rewards. It used to be 7.25, I believe. And every 4 years, it's a halving cycle, which cuts that reward in half. So basically, the computers that are creating and mining the currency, there's a 100% less incentive every 4 years to continuously mine the currency. Therefore, it continues to get more scarce. And lastly, with supply and demand, you have frozen or seized Bitcoin. This is Bitcoin that has been lost, seed phrases that cannot be found and are just completely gone in cyberspace.
All the coin I had from the ICO that worked was on a USB thumb drive. And my dumb fucking housekeeper threw out my jeans because they were ripped, even though I paid more for the ripped ones, and the thumb drive was in the pocket. So 300 million in crypto is buried out here somewhere.
Or they've been seized by the government, which the US government currently holds over 180,000 Bitcoin. The second reason Bitcoin is doing so well is because of decreased institutional trust. You have fiat currencies, not only in America with a dollar, but all around the world that are continuously failing because of the printing of that currency and the expansion that is just destroying the middle class. The price of goods increased to exorbitant rates, and then the cost of living be just as bad. But that goes back to the currency in which everything is purchased and exchanged with. So when you have the fiat currency of every country not being trusted, losing faith from the population, it's going to start to question, okay, maybe we need another currency. Maybe there's an alternative form that could be used instead of the country's currency that has always been used. Then you have anti establishment politicians winning elections. I think the obvious one is President Trump. He's obviously pro Bitcoin. And you have plenty of other senators and local representatives that can also do a number by promoting Bitcoin. You see Cynthia Wood. There's a lot of representatives that are coming out, and especially on the Republican side, that are pro Bitcoin and pro crypto, which is always good and why we're seeing such an innovation and change. Lastly, for decreased institutional trust, you have criminals and anonymous individuals that are always incentivized to use the network because they don't want either their criminal behavior to be tracked or they like to remain in anonymous identity. And maybe they're just kind of going back to the anti establishment point. They just don't trust the government and they'd rather remain not involved with them at every means possible. The third reason for Bitcoin's recent rapid price increase is convenience and control. The 24/7, 365 days a year, unlike the traditional banking system, which subjects to 9 to 5, 5 days a week, you can't make withdrawals, you can't transact, you can't convert. With cryptocurrency and especially Bitcoin, you never have to worry about things. You don't have to go through a bank or get someone else's permission. It's simply your own node and it's basically your own bank. Then, if you're someone that actually takes self custody of your Bitcoin, like myself, it's convenient for you to travel, to go wherever you want to go and transact with people, like I said, 24/7, every day of the year. Then you have no intermediaries. You have no one to interfere or lose your money during the process of that transaction. And lastly, the main reason we're seeing this rapid price increase in Bitcoin and a 93,000 all-time high so far is the mass adoption. $1 trillion market cap, as you know, is in the top 10 largest assets in the world and will most likely be in the top 5 in the next 10 years. You also have the Bitcoin ETF, which was very big in the acceptance. I mean, you have a lot of people that, especially are in Gen X and the previous generations, that are so skeptical and on the fence about Bitcoin. They just don't understand it. It's not traditional at all, and it's completely out of the government's control. So you have so much skepticism. But when you have something like a Bitcoin ETF where it's now offered through financial institutions, you can just go to your local financial advisor, purchase through them, have them purchase the Bitcoin, and you therefore have exposure to it with the Bitcoin ETF. So that's the people that aren't necessarily comfortable and don't necessarily want to take the risk and go through all the trouble that they may think it is to go through and buy Bitcoin. And the Bitcoin ETF, the main reason that it would help someone is if you're in a country like Japan where they blocked Bitcoin trading for a certain amount of time. That doesn't block you from going to your bank or your local institution and then buying through the ETF, therefore having exposure. So all those things combined, it's no wonder that we're seeing such a growth in Bitcoin. And I predicted this months ago. I thought we were going to hit 100K within 2024 or 2025. And I think it's very likely, even with a month left of the year, that it's going to hit 100K. I mean, we're extremely bullish like I've never seen before. If you told me that Bitcoin would be accepted at the rate that it is now 2 years ago, I would have said you're crazy. I would have said that's not possible. I would have said maybe another 5 to 10 years, but the fact we're seeing BlackRock, Wall Street, we're seeing all these large firms actually buy Bitcoin. Tesla releasing their Bitcoin holdings, MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor buying $4 billion of Bitcoin the other day and just nonstop buys more and more and says he will go in as much as he can. So you got to think the sentiment has never been higher, and I think we're bound to see $1 million Bitcoin before 2030. It's going to get to a point where the U.S. government, sooner or later, is going to just buy all of it up because this is just forever money. This is the perfect way to store wealth for generations without being altered by geopolitical events, corruption, greed, politicians, even natural events that do disrupt the economy, like the recent hurricanes. Those things are avoided when you invest in something like Bitcoin. Something that Michael Saylor always says, it's the Manhattan today. It's buying property in Manhattan because it's an island with limited property and everyone wants to do business there. So he says buying Bitcoin today is like buying a block in Manhattan. I think that's the best comparison when you really look at it and understand the value. And you wonder why gold isn't going at the value of Bitcoin. It's increased, it's hit new all-time highs, but that money that would have gone to gold that has traditionally gone to gold is now going into things like Bitcoin, Ethereum, cryptocurrency, and the decentralized market. So yes, I'm very optimistic about this. I've said this for a long time. And the fact that it's an SEC commodity, it's been ruled as a commodity by the SEC. It is essentially the realest system that we have. And it's only a matter of time before people actually wake up to it and buy every single bit of it. So that's why I urge everyone to get you some exposure to Bitcoin. Not financial advice, but now is probably the best time because you might not have that opportunity in the next 5 or 6 years.